Welcome, everyone. This is Lyman with IT Unity. I just wanted to welcome everyone. Hope you're having a great day today. Hope it's nice weather where you're at. I'm here in New York City, and it's somewhere between a sunny day and a bit of a cool, crisp spring day. Welcome you all to Office 365 Pulse with the lovely Jennifer Ann Mason. Take it away, Jen.
Hey guys, I am so glad that you could join us today. Lyman, if you want to put the ability for me to share content up, that would be
I
super
can do
awesome.
that
I'll go
right
ahead and
now.
do it. I put a link to the Sway presentation in the chat window that we have there. So you guys can pull it up and follow along on your own, or you can also um, look in the screen there. And that brings up the point that we have the questions box here. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, let's go ahead and chat through them when we're going through it. But we'll just kind of go through our sway. And then as we get towards the end of the presentation, we have a special guest today. And Seaburn is going to hop on in and join us and talk with us about Skype for Business. So go ahead and get your questions ready for that one. But we have the questions for presenter box, so feel free to put some stuff in there. It's more fun when you guys talk to me. It's not as much fun when you guys just listen to me. So April 15th, can you guys believe it? It is going to be crazy for the next couple of weeks. I'm heading to London for the Evolutions Conference. Corey and I leave tomorrow night, and then we have Ignite. So the show is going to take a hiatus, and then we are going to pick up the week after Ignite, give you guys a great update on Ignite, and then talk about some changes that we have coming to the show to make it a super awesome show for you guys. But starting out with updates today, we have some message center updates. They made some changes to the Trust Center. None of this looks really significant, but because of the way that they handle security, they have to put these updates here for us to see that something has been changed. And so what they basically did is the data maps that were in the Trust Center have been updated, so they need to let us know that so we can be aware of it. And they are updated to just show the new data centers that are in Australia. So one of our announcements that's coming later is that these data centers are now up and running in Australia. And so they updated the documents in the Trust Center, and they had to go ahead and put that out there for us to see it. So nothing too crazy there. Here's some other features that I think are really cool. They are doing a pooled storage model. So this is something that they announced a while back, said it was going to be coming, and now we're getting it, getting the notice that says over the next couple of weeks it's going to be deployed to our environment. So basically in the online setter, you're going to be able to go in and say, you know what, auto take care of my storage needs. And so what this is going to do is if you go in now or before this pool is there, you had to go in and say, okay, give this site this much quota and this site got this much quota, and then you could run out of quota. You could also have one site that you're like, man, now I need to go update this, but now I need to go lower that. And so all of that hassle is going to go away now because we have this pooled storage model. And what this means is we're going to be able to say, hey, take care of it for me, and it's going to manage that and monitor that for you. So that is a great new feature that's coming out. So hopefully we'll start to see that in the next couple of weeks hit our different tenants that are there. The next feature that came out is the mobile device management. Now this is one that they've been talking about since TechEd Europe. I have been dying to get my hands on it. I even have looked at every tenant that I have yet. I think I have like 6 or 7 of them, and it still hasn't hit any of my tenants. So I'm waiting to get my hands on this one, anxiously waiting on this. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in the feature updates, but the notification hit my message center, so hoping it should be a pretty quick update there. Link Online, the news of the week. So on April 14th, which is yesterday, Link Online officially became Skype for Business, and we should start seeing some of those different things pop up there with the user experience and different things like that. And we have Seaburn, who's going to join the call a little bit later, and we're going to go into that in more detail with lots of questions and answers and different things like that. They also put an end date, so I think 2 more messages from the Message Center. They put an end date on the task integration between SharePoint and Outlook on SharePoint Online and the sync, so you could have a SharePoint list and you could sync it with Outlook tasks, a SharePoint task list, and they put end of life on that for September of 2015. So a while back they took it away, but they provided a blog post with instructions on how you could still use it if you wanted to. So if you guys are using that feature and you guys went ahead and used that trick that they gave you guys to use it, you guys have until September 2015 to stop using that feature before you start to not be able to access it anymore. So that may or may not impact you guys, so just something to look out for if it's a feature that you're using. And then finally, this is a very welcome change. When I right-click on a document inside of a SharePoint library or inside of a OneDrive for Business library, I'm actually going to get a simple menu of common commands. So this is something that we have all been wanting for ages when it came down to it, because it's just a natural action for us to right-click on that document and nothing that we wanted to have happen was actually happening. You'd get a different confusing menu. So they are rolling that out, and I am personally thrilled about that one. So that should be coming out deployed to your organization over the next few weeks. The next few weeks is my new common phrase. Instead of coming soon or under development, that's just the answer that I keep getting for everything, is you'll see it in the next few weeks. So kind of makes me laugh a little bit, but there we go. Those are the updates from the Message Center. Nothing too terribly significant, but some good improvements that are there and some more clarification on some items. So I'm loving that. Okay, so we have some first release updates. We have two big ones that hit just recently. So the first release updates that we have is the people and the Delve content is there. So Mark Cashman wrote a great blog post about that yesterday that describes the new people experience. It's more action oriented around people, just Delve in general. Also the mobile views of Delve, the new authoring canvas, all sorts of cool things. So here's a screenshot from one of my sample demo tenants that we have, and you can see that this profile, this people profile page is filled out with the new features. So it looks pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I'm excited to dig in and play with that a little bit. Like I said earlier, I have 6 or 7 tenants. This is only showing up right now on one of them, so the rest of them I'm waiting to get all of the updates. I just haven't gotten them on all of them. But if you have Office 365, you guys should be seeing this one hit pretty soon to your environment. The other update that we have, and I'm going to have to give props to Christoph, because he went into Yammer today and actually highlighted that some of the features for groups are rolling out. So some of the things that they had on the roadmap for groups as under construction and under development, he went ahead and highlighted that and said, hey, these are rolling to first release. So there's different ways that you can view membership of the group. There's a group calendar where you can roll up availability of different members, and different ways that you can limit conversations. Some of those restrictions are going away for the number of people that can subscribe to it. And then also having policies for naming of the group. These are all really cool things that are coming in. And so Christoph went ahead and pointed that, hey guys, these are rolling to first release. You know, these are some of the changes that are on the roadmap, but we won't necessarily have a blog post that's going to come out with every one of these features that are there. So again, props to him for pinging on Yammer and letting us know that that started to hit for first release. So you may start to see some group updates as well. This just got posted. I haven't seen any of it in my tenants, but I'm hoping very soon that I'm going to get them. So again, pretty cool updates to look at, but definitely something to see. I mean, I'd love to get your feedback in the chat or anything like that. If any of you guys have seen any of these features, or if any of these are like, you're like, yes, finally. I know some of the things around distribution groups naming policies, anything with a policy for groups. I know there's a lot of people that are really hungry for that right now. So I'm very excited that they're moving forward with some of those types of things. So all, again, really awesome changes that are coming. So that kind of takes us to the Message Center updates, and then through the first release changes that we know are going out there right now. And so now we want to move into what are all the updates that have hit Office blogs in the last little bit that I need to know about. So first one is Microsoft in their common goal of security right now. So they are very security focused right now, very much on trust, security in the cloud, pushing the Office 365 Trust Center. They've got some great resources out there. They're actually going to be having a booth at the RSA conference this year. So that is in San Francisco next week. So if you're in the San Francisco area or if you're heading to the conference, Microsoft has got a full booth there. They've got some pretty cool and exciting sessions. It also looks like they're hosting a pretty cool happy hour. So if you are in the area or anything like that, you should definitely check them out. I think it's the 21st and 22nd. So we can keep our ears, ears to the ground, see if we hear any new announcements or if it's just a highlight of the existing announcements of things that we know are out there. But that's definitely going on this week. The other pieces that we have are the mobile device management. So that's the piece that I was saying is there, but I haven't physically gotten my hands on it. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. And when I do, we will most definitely do a show about it. But they've brought down some of the components of Intune services. So Intune was the functionality that you could use in Office 365 and in their environments where you could go in and do mobile device and enterprise device management. And they brought down 3 components of that you're going to be able to use within Office 365. The first one is conditional access, which means that you can say, only phones or devices that meet these conditions are going to be able to access our environment. Device management, where you can go in and set up policies on it. So you can say every device that's going to do this has to have a 6-digit PIN. Every device has to have a 4-digit PIN. The PIN has to change every so often. So different settings that you can do with that. And then also selective wipe. This one's good if you have someone who's, BYOD, it's the world that we live in right now. I actually, I bring my own device to work. I have my Surface device and I connect it through VPN to the work network. And it would be a very sad day if all of my content got wiped. And so I do keep some personal stuff on here and I keep work stuff on here. And so with tools like this, what would be able to happen is let's say I lost the device or I no longer work for the company would be able to wipe all of the selective, data, all of their data off of the machine while letting me keep the pictures of my kiddos. And so that's pretty important. But what's even more awesome about this is these features now exist within Office 365 and the enterprise SKUs. So if you have those enterprise SKUs, you're going to be able to take advantage of these features at no additional cost. And so that's really bringing like enterprise level services down to smaller enterprises. You no longer have to be accessible with having all of these tools and spending all of these additional funds to get it. A lot of these features are now being included. So it is a great opportunity for different organizations to take advantage of that. So I think that's really good news with different pieces that they have there. So I'm excited about that one. The next update that we have is that CRM, Dynamic CRM and Office 365 are now available in the Australian data centers. And they've also completed a formal security assessment for unclassified sensitive government data via the Australian government's independent assessors program. And so those are great announcements for people that are in that area that are looking for accessing that type of information in local data centers. So if you're in that area, good news, it is hit. They're officially available and online. So very awesome news for you guys when it comes there. So I thought that was a pretty interesting one. The next update that we have, I'm scrolling too fast here, is that we have got more updates for Outlook and iOS, or Outlook for iOS and Android. And so that rolled out. There was a lot of buzz and feedback. I don't have an Android or an iPhone. I am very quickly considering it based on everything that I'm seeing, but I'm going to give them one more chance. One more chance for Windows Phone when Windows 10 comes out for the phone, but not promising. But if I do have to switch over, I now have all of the great Outlook and Office apps that I'm used to are now there, and so they just made it a better experience. So things like instead of seeing only your top, only the top contacts, you're now able to see all of them. Being able to see a 3-day calendar view, being able to have search highlights and different things like that. So just some pretty simple usability features. Some of these might be things that, I mean, honestly, if I was working with this and these would be kind of deal breakers for me in some scenarios where I may have said, I'm not going to use this app. And so I might have, given up on it. So it's good to see that these updates are coming because some of these might make you want to give it a second chance. Also, more good news for the iOS and Android folks is that Office Lens is now an app that you guys can download. So this is there now. It's basically an app that lets you take screenshots of things like receipts, whiteboards, and stuff like that, cleans them up, and lets you put them inside of OneNote. So it's a great capture tool that you have. Yeah, so Derek said that it's a little disheartening that iOS and Android seem to be getting all the app love and feature updates, and they keep saying we're waiting for universal apps. It makes me so sad because every new and awesome thing that comes out, like the Delve for mobile came out yesterday, and you get it for Android and iOS. You don't necessarily get it on the iPhone. Not super excited about that. My husband spent some time this weekend when the Windows 10 beta for the phone came out, and he put it on one of his phones, and it took maybe about 2.5 hours, and he wiped his phone and went back to 8.1. So the first candidate that they put out there that you could look at and you could run, it didn't even make it 2 hours on my husband's phone before he just had to go back to 8.1 so he could have a functioning phone. And I actually saw some buzz around Twitter of some others having some of those same issues. So I really have high hopes that Windows 10 for the phone is going to come out and be awesome, and Universal Apps is just going to change the way that we work and live, and it's going to be awesome. I'm not sure that I totally buy it, but we'll see. I'm getting a little, and I've had a Windows phone since the beginning. Yeah, and Derek said it was useless even as a dev environment. Yep. So I think my husband may have kept it on our little 600 that he uses for nothing but tethering. He may have kept it on that, but I'm not even sure. I know it was pretty bad, so I'm not surprised to get that feedback, Derek. So hopefully soon. But I mean, now even some of the apps that we got to say, hey, we have these and you don't have them, now we can't even say that anymore about Office Lens. So there you go. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. A year from now, what will we be saying about it will be an interesting thing. Will everyone have jumped ship and gone to an Android or an iPhone? Or will we all be like, we were crazy, it was the best thing, I'm so glad we waited for it. So it's going to be interesting to see what the results are for that one. Okay, I think we have like 3 more updates, and then we are going to jump full-hearted into the link and Skype for Business conversation. But the next update that we have is Sway. I love Sway. You guys know that I use Sway every time we do one of these shows, and they have added in some new features. They've added in some collaboration features so that multiple people can be working on Sway at the same time. They have also added in the feature that lets you take a copy of an existing Sway and use it to create a new Sway. I used that this morning, and let me just tell you that I'm in love. It was a beautiful feature and saved me an absolute ton of time. So I love it. I love these new updates to Sway. I'm getting excited. It's getting a lot easier to work with, just seeing even the ways that they have made the tools available. So I'm excited at the rate of change at which things are coming, and I'm really looking forward to this, a tool that keeps evolving into being something. Right now, I predominantly use it for shows like this or webcasts like this, but I'm starting to get some ideas of how I can use it for other solutions as well. So I'm getting pretty excited about what I'm seeing in the arena of Sway. Okay, 2 more quick updates, or actually I think a couple more. Dropbox. Dropbox and Office 365 announced a partnership, I believe around the same time as TechEd Europe. And now you can have, if you have Office Online and you're working in Office Online, you can have an integration that lets you save directly to Dropbox from your Office Online location. So that's an update if you're working through it. If you're using Dropbox, that could be very valuable to you guys. I know some people we might be using SharePoint internal, but then we have a customer that we're working with, and so different things like that. But now you can have that integration piece that you're looking at. Hey, here's another fun one. I thought this one was really cool. Exchange Online Advanced Threat Protection. So coming this summer, they're doing a private preview right now, but coming this summer, there's actually going to be an add-on for Exchange Online that allows for additional advanced threat protection. So there's already some really good things in place for Exchange Online, but coming this summer, you're going to get an even greater level of protection that can be available as an add-on for those folks that are really in those areas or are high risk or very concerned about different things like that. It will be something that you can add on to an existing offering. So they didn't give a ton of details about it. I shared the link here for when you need that. But if you run into any of those issues or if you had any concerns about anything like that, there's some things coming. So they didn't really talk about how you could get into the private preview, but there is a private preview going on. But definitely something that some of the people on the call and some of our regular attenders might be really interested in. Okay, two more. Mix got another update. So I don't know if any of Suzanne might actually be using Mix because she's been I think she's in the education space, but they might have some of the different pieces out there. But if anyone's using Mix, they added in closed captioning and the ability to do note slides. So slides that you can also have the notes displayed there. And so those are now available inside of Mix, which just keeps making it a great, I think I've seen the most use of Mix in the education space, but I think it's coming out using it more. So that's awesome. The next thing that they have is 6 updates for Power Query for Excel. So if Jennifer Mason ran an award show and I was giving awards away for the Office 365 space, I would say that Power Query for Excel wins the award for the absolute most updates to any product. I think every time we do this show, we've actually had a box here for Excel and Power Query updates, and there's just all sorts of updates. It's always this list of updates. So they get my award for being the most up-to-date product that is constantly evolving and constantly changing. So I think a lot of these are small changes like everything else, but I do think it is great to see the rate of innovation that they are going at. So lots of cool things there. I mean, I comb through the blog sites. There are also some case studies and different things like that. Super excited because I know with Ignite coming, we are going to be getting some super, super great content. So oh, that's really cool. So Suzanne said it's been stable updates for Power Query as well, which is awesome. So they'll get the award for the most stable and current and always coming updates. I think it's crazy because you can always count on that Excel team to have updates, which kind of makes me laugh a little bit. So I wish some of the other things could update as fast as Excel could update, but lots of good changes and lots of things that, I mean, imagine if we had to wait for another release of the product to get those updates. I'm just excited to see the updates coming so very quickly. So all super awesome content. I think more stuff, more really great stuff is going to be coming at Ignite. So I hope you guys are all going to be able to make it out in Chicago for Ignite. If you guys are going to be at Chicago for Ignite, you guys need to hook up with me so I can connect with you and buy you guys a drink and we can have some good time. Good times out in Chicago. But I think that's really all the updates. I don't think that we're going to see too much going on at all. So awesome. Okay, so the next piece that we have is Skype for Business. So I'm going to ask Seaburn Wilson to join us now. Seaburn runs our link practice over at Rackspace. So Seaburn and I work together at Rackspace, and he runs our link business / Skype for Business practice / whatever it's going to be called next week.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Seaburn, I thought you could give just a quick little introduction
Sure.
about you and different things like that, and then we're going to just jump in and talk Skype.
Well, one thing we joked about here is we're no longer going to have job titles that include any of the UC product names because it changes every couple of years. So yeah, so my name is Seaburn Wilson. I've been at Rackspace about 2 years. I've been involved with unified communications from Microsoft products all the way back to OCS 2007, 2007 R2, Lync 2010, now Lync 2013, and now Skype for Business. So I've done, prior to coming to Rackspace, I was involved in some of the largest UC deployments in the world, 180,000 seat deployment, 148,000 seat global deployment. And those were hosted solutions, but were the equivalent of an on-prem, so not quite O365. But just in that space, that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years.
Awesome.
Prior to coming to Rackspace.
I love it. All right, and now you're with us and helping us do super, super awesome things. So let's talk. Lyman, can you bring our poll over? We have a quick poll for people to kind of see where people are going, but let's talk this rebranding. What the heck does Skype for Business rebranding mean in this space?
So initially, it's really just the client side. The server bits are coming very soon. So on the back end, that will be updated very shortly, especially in the on-prem space. I'm sure in O365, Microsoft obviously is always updating things on the back end. Initially, for most users of Skype, it's there was a technical preview I've been running for about 3 weeks, and now it officially launched yesterday. So you do have some ability to control that interface. So I'll be honest. So here at Rackspace, they're waiting before we switch over the interface. But because I run the business, all our technical guys have switched over to the new interface. But as far as corporate wide, they're going to wait. But
I switched over too.
Okay. So for the people who are technically savvy enough, you're gonna you know how to switch over. But ultimately, it can be controlled via policy. So that's some of the documentation that's come out. You can set it globally, or you can target a subset of users if you want to do like a proof of concept pilot. Before you switch it over for everyone in the organization. I'll be honest, the interface itself, it's still Lync under the covers, I believe, but there are some of the controls that I've found myself on calls trying to switch between audio devices or video device or something like that, and I had to fumble around to find a few things because the interface, it's not drastically different, but it is slightly different.
I like it better. Do you like it better?
Are you on I don't know. Yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm sure it's just a matter of getting used to it. So, and at the end of the day, it's the same. They haven't taken away any capabilities, and eventually they will be adding probably new capabilities, new features down the line. But basically it's that initial change the interface so it's more Skype-like because Skype had so much industry recognition and branding, which is probably why they chose to rebrand to Skype, just because the worldwide name recognition.
Yeah. Do all the features pretty much work the same? Like we have a question in the box from Eric. Do like Skype calls, you can still record all that just like you could with Lync and all those different things.
And I'll be brutally honest, I haven't gone through and done any kind of like serious testing, but all that's been communicated to me is that all the features you had are still there. So again, if you could record, unless there was some policy setting that didn't allow you to do it, you'll still be able to record through that using the interface if you're doing an online meeting, things of that nature.
Yeah, they seem to think that it's going to be like a load and go. People are going to just be able to upgrade and nobody has an issue, and they're not, there's no feature communications or anything like that. It's just like, it's different and it's better and everybody use it. So Suzanne, you guys have got a really big implementation. Are you guys doing the update, or did you guys block it? And Stephen, can you talk a little bit about how you'd block it? Is that like a PowerShell command, I believe, that you have to run?
For recording?
No, just blocking if you don't want to update for Skype to Business and you just want to...
Oh, yeah. So it is a PowerShell commandlet. I don't believe it's available on any GUI control panels at this point in time. So you can definitely set, to be global. And there's also a client-side update itself. So there's actual bits, and Jennifer, you've gone through this. So there's an update you need to run on each desktop for the Lync client itself. But then even if you ran that update, you could wait till a later date before you switch over the user interface. So this control would be a PowerShell commandlets. Your server backend, depending on what you're running, has to be updated as well to support the new UI, and you won't even see the PowerShell commandlet used to toggle that interface available until you get to the right update level. So once you have the proper update on your server side, you can set either a global policy, again, if you want to switch over for anyone who wasn't getting either a user-based policy or site-based or pool-based. So definitely different levels or scopes you can set to toggle that interface between the legacy Lync and Skype UI.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So one other question that I've kind of been getting a lot, and I've got it, and I'm wondering if some of the people in the audience might not have a question about it as well, is how far can you take Lync Online with Office 365, and what are some of the advanced features of Lync that would cause you to have to look at a dedicated type solution that maybe Lync Online can't do?
Sure. So, Microsoft's still maturing in the voice capability space. And they actually have some good tool sets around compliance, but we have talked to a customer you're familiar with. I won't bring up their name on the call, but they do have a need. They want to do some advanced voice capabilities, and it's a very large user population. So they're actually looking at a hybrid scenario where they still have users they can host in, O365 and Lync Online / Skype for Business Online, but then have some of the users who need those advanced capabilities in the equivalent of an on-prem solution. So we're talking to that customer right now because sometimes some users, the Skype for Business Online experience is more than adequate. It gives them all the features they need, but then a subset of the user population may need advanced capabilities, again, around the voice piece. If you want to add in a third-party contact center solution, for example, for voice, that's something that is a little bit harder or trickier to probably integrate with the current Lync Online. And again, as Microsoft moves along, they're going to blur the lines between an on-prem and Lync Online, but today they're not there. So API access, if you need a full API access for some custom workflow application, you have some certain limitations on API capabilities in Skype for Business Online.
Have you seen a lot of people trying to go after the hybrid scenario of keeping some users on Lync Online or Skype for Business Online? It's now making it say like 3 more words every time we want to talk about it. Yeah. I don't like that.
The acronym is SFB, Skype for Business. So no, we definitely have seen a lot of traction, and really for us, what we're trying to do is give them the best of breed or the most cost-effective solution. So instead of trying to force a customer into 100% dedicated solution, we can look for that hybrid scenario because we want to provide the best value. So that's really what's driving it. It's not forcing them to go 100% on one platform.
Got it. What's over the last, so many years, like what's been your favorite story doing all of these types of Skype and Lync and, any exciting and super fun projects that are just awesome?
Some of the larger global projects have been super challenging, and I have a strange personality. I like challenges. I don't want plain vanilla every day. So working through legal and regulatory issues when you're doing voice, services in different areas of the country where they actually have state laws that don't allow voice traffic to transverse the WAN. You have to actually force voice traffic out through the PSTN network. So, I won't say it was fun, but it was challenging, so that's been fun. And it's a great learning experience. I mean, the only way you learn those types of things is to go through those large, complex projects. So the 2 large projects I mentioned, which was the 180,000 seat and the 140,000 seat deployment, I don't know too many other projects I've worked on that have been that challenging and have presented as much of a learning opportunity for legal and regulatory and the political challenges. Let me give you another example. When you have a company that has traditionally had hundreds of PBXs deployed across the world, and now you want to consolidate all that voice, infrastructure down to, like, say, 3 regional sites, North America, Europe, Middle East, and then Asia Pac, that creates some very unique political challenges when they have telephony engineers and they feel like you're taking something away from them, you're taking away their job responsibilities, things of that nature. But reality is you still need those expertise. There's still going to be a lot of voice assets that live out in these offices around the world. So again, lessons learned, scar tissue from some of these projects.
So in your last year or so working with Lync, and since you've been doing that even since Lync 2010 up to 2013 up to Lync Online and all of these different things now and to the Skype world, what's one piece of information you would give people that are coming behind you that are maybe just getting started with it or looking at different things? Is there one nugget of advice or piece of just some piece of truth you'd pass on to other generations?
Sure. So when you get into these arguments or not even an argument, a discussion around total cost of ownership or return on investment, if you don't drive user adoption, you're never going to see the real value. So we've had customers come to us and say, look, we tried this with OCS and it never got off the ground, and the user adoption was very low. and so you have to look at, do you have the right training programs in place? Are you communicating to people how to utilize these tools? Again, the real value is if you can start collaborating more online instead of taking a flight to a customer or flying to remote offices to meet face to face. I mean, sometimes there's not a replacement for a face to face meeting, but a lot of times you can't conduct business like we're doing right now in this meeting. We're able to collaborate, disseminate information. So if you don't have the proper training programs in place and show people how to use the tools, how to leverage them, why it's important to the company to start using different technologies to lower travel costs, and again, you're not going to get the real value out of it, and you're not going to see the return on investment that you're hoping to see. So that's the big thing, is training, communicating with your end user environment.
Yeah, that's really good. That seems to apply to everything we're trying to do. We can't really use technology to solve business problems. We kind of have to train people and educate people and get them going and using the tools.
I was saying, in my career, I've seen so many companies throw money at software and deploy it and just think it's going to magically, solve a problem or, add the value just because they bought it and deployed it. And you've seen that, Jennifer. I've seen it. It's not the case. So
we had a problem with that. I was talking to somebody last week, and they were looking at something, and they kind of explained what it was and what they needed it to do, and I was like, certainly sounds like you have a personnel problem and not a technology problem. So we can change the technology, but without changing the personnel, it's not going to fix it.
Changing their behavior.
Yeah, it's just changing behavior, and we kind of get in the rut of what we do. So it's pretty cool though. So we've had, at Rackspace, even internally, we've rolled out. So Rackspace is a fun culture. What I like to tell people when we're talking about it is like we have a company full of people that have access to technology and servers, and there's really no drop down that says everyone is going to use this standard of anything. Like, everybody uses every set of tools to do everything. It's just kind of the way that we roll. It's engraved in our culture, and you kind of embrace it and go with it. But before Lync was used, we had 2 or 3 different chat and different solutions, and I was never on any of them because it was such a hassle to get to it. But now that Lync is up, I can't believe the people that I'm talking to within the org who will just ping me on Lync, and I absolutely love it. And so internally, I've seen that as just kind of like what you said. I remember the education that went out and the pilot programs that were there, and so it just went really well. So seeing that firsthand, it's actually neat to see how it improves, how we interact.
To your point, we're not a poster child for typical technology adoption because we have Linux people, we have Mac people. We're not a 90% Windows shop. So just for people on the presentation, we have a lot of Linux desktops out there, a ton of Mac. So there's a link for Mac client as well. But on the Linux side, they had to use some open source clients that we tested and came up. There's ADM and there's Pigeon, and so there's some other tools that we've had to test. But ultimately, they're still, to Jennifer's point, they're still using Lync on the back end, but they have their own custom client that they're deploying, or open source client as well.
Yeah, so it's all really interesting stuff. So as we're kind of wrapping up, if there's any other questions that we want to talk about with CBRN, we can post them up there, and I've got maybe 1 or 2 more questions that I can go through, and if any other questions come up, we can answer them, or we can wrap for the day. If someone is looking at what they can do right now in this space and looking at Skype for Business, is there a path that you would recommend? How do they get started, and what do they, what's the best way to go about if they're not using a tool like this today? What's the best way to go about embracing it and running with it?
So, I would look at again, talking about the training or just assessing your culture, how people, collaborate today. A lot of times you think, companies may think, oh, we're not using any of these things, but yet everyone's actually using Skype, but the free community base, or they're using Yahoo or, some other messaging platform. Most people are using something. It may not be a corporate standard, or may not be, again, signed off on, but most people are using some type of collaboration tool. Again, here we had a ton of people that use Skype so they could communicate with end customers, because a lot of customers have Skype. So, I would assess, what people are actually using, and
I'm not really sure what just happened. Are we back now?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So again, just assess the culture, and again, I think you need to test the waters. Ultimately, you always have to go through a pilot / proof of concept. So if that's using a link online with O365 to kind of kick the tires, you don't sign up the whole company day one. You would want to start with IT, maybe get some additional user groups involved to kind of again test the waters and see if they find it valuable.
Exactly.
So that's the way. Yeah, you need to sell that value, and again, you almost have to have an internal marketing campaign, just like you would any product you would produce. You'd have to market it to your internal folks. So again, assess your different communications tools, needs, areas where you guys can improve. Again, most companies use some form of online conferencing. If it's a WebEx, GoToMeeting,
right.
Adobe Connect. So they're using collaboration tools even if they're consuming it from another third party. So if they really sit down and look at it, they're using a lot of these tools in different ways. And so it's a question of, do you want to consolidate it onto a single platform? So you're not using 5 different tools to accomplish your collaboration needs. That's the value of Skype for Business, is the fact that you can use a single client to facilitate online meetings, peer-to-peer communications, instant messaging, video calls, instead of having 5 different clients to maintain. So
yeah, and I like that they're incorporating some of the Skype features into it, because there were some features that I liked about the free version that I use. I mean, I run both. I run just Skype, and I talk to a lot of the SharePoint community. We're all friends on Skype, and so we'll talk all day long. And those same features weren't always in Lync, and so now seeing some of those features come over, it's just a really great experience. I'm kind of excited about it.
More emoticons. People.
Of course, everyone needs emoticons. Oh, I love it.
That was the hard sell we had here, was moving from our previous vendors, lack of custom emoticons. So.
I didn't even know we could do custom emoticons in the last one, but that shows how I didn't actually use it.
Yeah.
But, I like it now. Well, I think we're kind of wrapping up. I didn't really see any more questions come in. I am so excited you came to talk with us, Seaburn. I think this is great. And for those on the call, and then for others that are, we lost Seaburn. For others that are going to watch it later, it'll be good insight for them. So closing out, we just want to remind everybody that you guys can stay connected. All of this information is on the office blogs, and you can definitely connect with all of us on the Yammer network. So you guys should head over there and join that if you guys are not already in that network. So it was great having you guys here. The next show is going to be post-Ignite, and we do have some really exciting announcements coming for the show. We've spent the first 6 months of the year kind of getting our feet wet with how we're going to do it, and we've got some great ideas for how we're going to format it moving forward and stuff like that. So we will be making some changes post-Ignite, and it is going to be super awesome. So if you are headed to Ignite, please look me up so we can connect. And if not, we will see you post-Ignite with a great update show for you. So thanks again for everything, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks.